This video is about the organizational behavior movie case study. The movie discussed in this video is Avengers: Infinity Wars, which is released in 2018. There are 5 characters will be discussed in this video. There are Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Thanos, Thor, and Gamora.
Hi, my name is Chan Chi-hee. So in this project, I'm going to present the character about Doctor Strange. The first topic is about the individual behaviors, personality, and values. So according to the Mars model of individual behavior, Doctor Strange's motivation was originally to keep the Time Stone away from Thanos by any means necessary. On the other hand, Strange was insistent that he keep the stone and would not allow Tony to destroy it or otherwise take it away from him. Strange maintained that the more essential element in the struggle was the stone. After he was captured by Thanos' lieutenant, Immobile, and recovered by Tony and Spidey. He made it clear to Tony that he would protect the stone no matter what, even if it meant the life of Tony, Peter Parker, or both. When they arrived on Titan, Doctor Strange spends more time discussing how to use the Time Stone to defeat Thanos. He utilized his ability to see 40 million different timelines and only sees one in which the Avengers win the war. The struggle continues as the crew come close to stealing Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet, which would have let them stop him, but they fail. Thanos stabs Tony in the belly in the last minute of the struggle, then prepares to kill him. This is the moment at which Strange realized his raw perception. He struck a deal with Thanos, spare Tony's life in exchange for the Time Stone. Strange's former claim that the stone was more important than anybody on the team has changed dramatically. Strange's remark about being in the endgame occurs just after Thanos left Wakanda. That implies Strange's decision to change his mind and save Tony in part of a larger plan, one that is more crucial than keeping the Time Stone away from Thanos. So the second topic is about to apply the MBTI theory on Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange is a reasonably obvious example of an ENTJ personality type when using the MBTI theory. So E is represent for extraversion. So while operating on a patient, Stephen Strange, the surgeon, is affably chatting and playing music trivia with the staff in the first scene of his original film. So his pricey watch collection and vehicle reflect a Tony Stark style playboy's lifestyle. The N is shown as intuitive, and Doctor Strange represents Stephen Strange as a surgeon of the highest caliber. In such a position, he will have a deal with a variety of issues and come up with creative solutions based on the bolder picture. Strange must reorient himself to new realities after the ancient one introduced him to the supernatural realm. But he always ends up in the same place, solving issues with his broad imagination. So T stands for thinking. Strange's hero's journey is centered on him giving up one way of thinking and embracing another. The majority of it centers around his rational approach because he needs to let go of his established way of thinking. There's a subtext about faith in his path, but he never let it come down to blind faith. His faith is always founded on facts. When he integrates this information with thinking and intuitive personality qualities, he becomes at ease with a systemic mysticism that you have previously dismissed. J is represented as judging. Doctor Strange is orderly and prefers the predictable. He doesn't jump into battle and hopes that strength and cleverness are at the moment will win the day unless he absolutely has to. Strength isn't the heart. He is strategic. He knows where he's going and what he will do. The third topic is about the ethical principle of Doctor Strange. So in ethical principles, Doctor Strange is said to follow utilitarian logic because he looks into the future, consider all options and pick the one that will result in the best. In this approach, he avoids one of utilitarianism's most challenging problems, our inability to predict the future. The proper path of action, according to utilitarianism, is the one that will result in the greatest good for the largest number of people. Because the greatest benefits must be achieved for the greatest number of people. Once a course of action is adopted, utilitarianism requires that we can predict the future with acceptable accuracy. But can we truly know of the future ramifications of our decisions? We can't, as history has shown, and if we can, how can utilitarian thinking help us choose the optimal course of action? But no matter how hard we try, we just cannot foretell the future with any degree of precision. Doctor Strange, on the other hand, is unique in that he can utilize the time stone to see into the future. As a result, he may use utilitarian ethics while also knowing what he is talking about. So the fourth topic is about the workplace emotional attitudes and stress. Instead of saying that maintaining the safety of the Earth or protecting the time stone from being snatched by the Thanos is the work of Doctor Strange only, it is better to say that this is his and other Avengers' responsibility. Maybe a workplace for us may be a company or a factory, but his workplace may be anywhere on the Earth, a planet in the universe. Maybe some Avengers need help, then he must drop what he's doing to help the others. So Doctor Strange's work satisfaction is revealed in the plot of this movie. When Iron Man knew that Thanos wanted to grab this Infinity Stone, he wanted Doctor Strange to destroy his time stone to avoid Thanos collecting this Infinity Stone. But Doctor Strange refused to do so because he sought to protect the time stone. And he always believed that this time stone may become the only favorable opportunity to defeat Thanos. In addition, when Nemo drove his Q-ship come to Earth to grab the time stone, Doctor Strange did not run away, but he utilized the time stone and protect humans on Earth together with Iron Man. Next, about the stress on Doctor Strange in this movie stems from the need to stop Thanos from snatching the time stone away from him. In order to stop Thanos from gathering all 6 Infinity Stones and causing the death of most of the people on Earth. Although Doctor Strange has affirmed in the early part of the film, no matter who is in danger, he will not hand over the time stone. But after Doctor Strange used the stump to look at a myriad of possible future, a total of more than 40 million, the result led everybody is very broken, because in this more than 40 million kind of future, only one future is the Avengers' victory. The reason why Doctor Strange handed over the time stone was not only to save Iron Man's life. Doctor Strange is a very sensible person. In his opinion, in order to make the Thanos collect the 6 Infinity Stones, can even sacrifice Iron Man, but he did something that surprised everyone and handed over the Time Stone to Thanos. This is only one reason, not for Iron Man, but in the future he saw that for victory there is Iron Man, and all the future of Thanos have gathered the Infinity Stone. So taking the Infinity Stone for Iron Man's life is a prerequisite for this universe to win. That's why Doctor Strange said when the fight Ash, Tony, there was no other way. So the fifth topic is about the decision making and creativity. The intuitive decision making of Doctor Strange was one of the important decisions that affect the future and the endgame. Doctor Strange's decision to hand out the Time Stone makes him culpable in the snap as well. However, he is equally convinced that he is doing correctly since he has been seen the future and knows that the only victory condition is the one that will be realized in Endgame. After Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Spider-Man and Star-Lord and their team arrive at the planet Titan, where Thanos believed the creativity of Doctor Strange was shown upon the time. Doctor Strange tries to went forward in time to view alternate futures by using a time stone. Although the results were not good news for them, if Doctor Strange didn't do it, the Avengers might have had a big loss and there may be no way to save the life that was sacrificed. The sixth topic is about the team dynamic. Doctor Strange used his resources and power to help the Avengers to fight Thanos. The legitimate power that he used is a time stone he owns that can go forward in time to view alternate futures. The expert power can be used to cope with uncertainty. A similar situation can be found in this film. Each Avenger has different abilities and powers, so this helps them adapt to the challenge of fighting Thanos. The non-sustainability of Doctor Strange towards the Avengers is very important. Strange proved to be one of the heroes most capable of standing against the Mad Titan, and that fight is perhaps the best action sequence in the entire movie. However, what really makes him non-sustainability in this movie is his owns the time stone, which only has one. So the assertiveness of influence by Doctor Strange towards Tony Stark and Peter Parker can be found in the movie. As Doctor Strange, Stark and Peter Parker go to Titan, Strange informs Stark that his top duty is to preserve the stone, and that he will let both Stark and Peter die if necessary. It's a dark stance for a hero to adopt, and it's difficult not to believe Strange when he says it. It's like threatening by Doctor Strange to Peter Parker and Stark. Strange to Stark appears to be a setup for his storyline in the film, as it becomes clear that he will try to save Stark's life at some point, demonstrating that he isn't that cruel. When Strange gives Thanos the time stone in order to save Stark's life, this is exactly what occurs. This appears to be a risky action on Doctor Strange's part, but it turns out that he was really risking Stark's life to assure their victory. Next is about the team communication. Aside from the occasional arguing and snacky remarks, all of the Avengers, including Doctor Strange, were talking about their own ideas and strategic plans. They needed to put their minds together and come up with a plan to battle Thanos. Infinity War depicts the superheroes' difficult condition, as they must comprehend Thanos and the 6 Infinity Stones in order to prevent him from wiping out the universe. Even when they are in the middle of a battle, they maintain continued contact to know when the situation is clear, when someone is injured, or when the enemy escapes. Every single one of the more than 20 characters has a part to play in this battle, but it can't be won without listening and communicating with one another. The Avengers highlighted the significance of efficient communication within a group context, which is why we have meetings, debates, and hundreds of group chats, and we can be either sender or receiver at any time. Regardless of the sort of company we work in, good two-way communication boosts morale, productivity, and dedication, so don't be afraid to speak up. So the next is about the organizational culture. The relationships and result orientation are the two dimensions of the concept of organizational culture proposed by Rob Goffey and Gareth John in 1996. Relationships refer to how amicable the members of an organization are to one another. This is due to how well they know each other and whether they have any mutual interest. It also represents the degree of informal interaction between members. The degree to which members are focused on completing a set of objectives is referred to as result orientation. This is a role in how members, regardless of their personal types, are able to seek speedy execution, use resources efficiently, and stay focused on the objective. As shown in the figure, the Avengers are low on relationships and high on result orientation. So as new members join the Avengers, we might see some breakdown in social relationships. The informality that defined the early years may give way to formal processes. What keeps them all together, however, is a purpose that must be achieved, ruthlessly if necessary. For example, the situation wasn't great when Doctor Strange first met with Iron Man, but when more came in a Q-ship to grab the time stone, they had a good understanding to fight more together. So in conclusion, at the end of the movie, Thanos was succeeded to collect all the Infinity Stone and snap his finger. After the snap, most of the creatures disappeared, including Doctor Strange. So if we just consider this film and didn't have the endgame yet, Doctor Strange was failed. Because he didn't manage to keep the time stone and defeat the Thanos. However, we can know why Doctor Strange need to save Thanos' Stark life instead of keeping the time stone in the endgame. Hence, it was a success factor that the Avengers about to defeat Thanos in the endgame and save the creature's life.
Hi, I'm Yang. Now I would like to present Iron Man in Infinity War. First, we apply individual behavior, personality, and value theory. Iron Man is one of the protagonists in the movie. To stop the antagonist Thanos to disappear half creatures in the universe, he fights bravely with Thanos even though he knew that the chance to win is extremely low. Unfortunately, he almost sacrificed himself in the world. To investigate the character in more detail, we apply mass model to help us analyze the behavior of Iron Man. Iron Man is one of the superheroes in Marvel. He helps people by doing donation and protecting people with his superpower. To achieve the motivation, he does not stop enhancing his equipment with latest technology. There's a scene that Spider-Man almost lack of energy since he was outside the Q-ship and the Q-ship has gone into the space. The Iron Man gave Spider-Man suit with his new technology, and the evolution of the Spider-Man suit has made the Spider-Man breathe normally in space. He understands his job and duty as a superhero on Earth. From the beginning of the movie, Iron Man is dating with his girlfriend, while Doctor Strange has stopped them and asked Iron Man to go with him and discuss how to fight with Thanos. Even though Iron Man met Doctor Strange the first time, since he heard about the Earth will be threatened by Thanos, he takes his obligation to immerse himself in the world. In the first fighting scene of the movie, the Q-ship has arrived on Earth and Iron Man fight fiercely with the invented enemy. Q-ship has caged Doctor Strange and started to leave, and Iron Man catch up with the Q-ship and saves Doctor Strange, and as a result that he has forced to break his promise to having dinner with his girlfriend at that day. The situational factor make Iron Man in terms of budget and facility. The character of Iron Man has multiple roles in society. He's a millionaire, Avenger, inventor, and playboy. His strong background makes him can get anything easily, including some rare elements. The rare element provide Iron Man with the energy to live. With the use of those rare elements, the invention of new technology of Iron Man has been boosted and speed up. With that motivation, ability, role perception, and situational factors, Iron Man become one of the famous superheroes in Marvel's the movie. As a result, Iron Man works with the Avengers team to fight with Thanos in Titan. The fight is not only for protect the Infinity Stone being robbed by Thanos, but also fight for half of the creature in the universe. Overall of the movie, Iron Man show goal-directed behavior and perform his task proactively. Second, we talk about workplace emotion, attitude, and trust. In the movie, there is not a proper workplace environment for an Iron Man and the other superhero work on. For the Iron Man, either doing invention in a place or fighting with enemy on the other planet can be considered as a workplace. The workplace of a superhero can be everywhere whenever they are working. The job satisfaction of Iron Man has highlighted which Doctor Strange need to pilot Q-ship to Earth. Since Q-ship is belong to Thanos, the Iron Man know that if Q-ship is on Earth, Thanos will come and rob the Infinity Stone by himself. As a result, the world will probably start on Earth and will bring calamitous destruction to Earth. Therefore, Iron Man voice out and respond to this situation with the job arrangement by Doctor Strange and arguing to move the world to Thanos' planet and shock and surprise Thanos. The stress of Iron Man can be viewed in the movie when Spider-Man told to Iron Man that he wants to fight with Thanos together with Iron Man and Doctor Strange. Marvel fans will know that Iron Man can so-called the life tutor of Spider-Man. The Iron Man know that without the Spider-Man suit, Spider-Man is only 16 years old boy. He does not have to immerse himself in the world. Due to the powerlessness of the Infinity Stone on Thanos' hand, the Iron Man knows that he has limited task control in the impending world. Spider-Man has convinced and persuaded Iron Man to let him join the world by changing Iron Man's perception with the safety of people on Earth. Besides, Iron Man can manage others' emotions according to the emotional intelligence hierarchy depicted in the film. That can be seen in the final scene after Thanos snaps his finger. Half of the universe creatures start vanishing, and Iron Man sense the hopelessness, fear, and unwillingness emotion from Spider-Man, who is about to vanish. He attempts to console Spider-Man by hugging him. Before vanishing, Spider-Man seems to feel better and have a hug after having a hug with Iron Man, and he was fearless to confront with the management. Third, we talk about decision making and creativity. Throughout the whole film, there are several decisions have been made by Iron Man, such as going along with Doctor Strange and discussing the Infinity Stone, delaying dinner time with her girlfriend, and agreeing Spider-Man to join the world. However, the most impressive decision that Iron Man made was deciding to fight Thanos on Titan. The decision was made in the quarrel between Iron Man and Doctor Strange. During quarreling, Iron Man was emotionally unstable at that moment than when he talked about Thanos. Some people would say that the choice made by Iron Man is considered an intuition decision. Nevertheless, rather than intuition decision, the justification from Iron Man later made the decision close to a rational choice. To investigate the decision further, rational choice decision-making process may be used to analyze it. Within a Q ship, there is either back to the Earth or pilot the Q ship to Titan. To keep the time stone safe, Dr. Strange advocates piloting Q ship to Earth. However, Iron Man advocates piloting Q ship to Titan and fighting Thanos in the shop. By comparing both choices, Dr. Strange's choice is good, but if Thanos found the Q ship has arrived on Earth with the Infinity Stone he has currently, the Earth will be faced tremendous and unimaginable destruction by Thanos. It will be thousands of million people on the Earth affected by the war. To maximize the expected utility that Iron Man organization pursue, avoiding more victims and innocent sacrifice in the war will be the best choice to make. Thus, the decision made by Iron Man at the scenes was his rational choice. Next, we talk about team communication. Team communication took a vital role in the movie as the superheroes are encountered with Thanos, which have the power of Infinity Stone and try to wipe out half creature in the universe. There is a scene from movie that shows the Iron Man has communicate barriers with Doctor Strange. After listening to the briefing of the Infinity Stone, the Iron Man gives his suggestion to Doctor Strange to destroy the Doctor Strange Time Stone. Then Thanos will not get his thing done without the Time Stone. Doctor Strange and Wong advocate that they have sought to protect the Time Stone with their life. However, the Iron Man does not listen to the justification and told them he has sold off not to eat ice cream sarcastically. The further explanation given by Doctor Strange was filtered by Iron Man and insists on his idea to let Doctor Strange destroy the Time Stone. Then we talk about conflict and negotiation in the workplace. Iron Man has several conflicts with other superheroes in the movie. One of the scenes which is well highlighted is Iron Man met Spider-Man inside the Q-ship. Iron Man is reluctant Spider-Man to take the risk on Q-ship. It can be seen that Spider-Man almost ran out of oxygen when Q-ship is being piloted to Titan in space. Although Iron Man gives Spider-Man a new suit to let Spider-Man adapt to the environment in space, he also gives the command to Spider-Man new suit to send Spider-Man home, but failed. Therefore, when he met Spider-Man again in the Q-ship, he has spoken a lot of vulgar words to express his unwillingness to see Spider-Man at that moment. The source of conflict can be defined as incompatible goals. The Iron Man tried to avoid Spider-Man being involved in the war. However, the goal of Spider-Man is to participate in the war and fight together with the Iron Man. Eventually, the conflict was resolved by compromising both parties. It can be justified as both Spider-Man and Iron Man are superpowered and they are equally powered and positioned in the Avengers. And there is an urgent because Doctor Strange was being tortured by Ebonimo. There were a mutual gain at the end of the conflict when Spider-Man came up with an idea to save Doctor Strange and Iron Man not refuse Spider-Man to join the war. Next is leadership. The type of leadership that is nurtured in the whole movie is shared leadership. In the Avengers, no superhero declares himself or herself as a leader within that organization. All of them are work in collaborative culture instead of a competitive mode. The Iron Man within the movie has demonstrated his leadership competency. The personality of Iron Man is extroversion. It can be seen that he can work together with Doctor Strange, who he never met before, after a short conversation. He is also a conscientious person as he knows his obligation and mission as one of the members of Avengers. He has the motivation to lead others. As an example, he planned to fight Thanos in T10 and he proposed a plan and reasonable justification to persuade Doctor Strange. The Iron Man posed the characteristic of drive. He fight for justice and he tried to protect all the people that he could. He know the business and mission do Avenger carry and pursue. He also has emotional intelligence. At the end of the scene, it was a heartbreaking scene when Iron Man saw Spider-Man start vanishing. He sends Spider-Man feels and gives Spider-Man support with hug, which makes Spider-Man feel better and calm. Therefore, Iron Man posed his strong leadership competency in the film investigated. Last, we talk about organization culture. The organization that can be found in the movie is so-called Avengers. Avengers is an organization where nobody seems to be an employee and there is no one leader to lead the superhero. Avengers seems to be broken out from the first scene of the movie where Iron Man says that he has some conflict with Captain America and they have no longer keep in touch with each other. However, the organization value and culture brings them together, which is to fight against evil power. The disaster brought by Thanos threatened all the creatures in the universe. Although there is some individual conflict within the organization, whenever there is a direction that organization point out, they will fight together with each other. That is the organizational culture posed in the movie. The Avengers can be defined as a strong culture in the movie. It can be known that Iron Man, Spider-Man, Hulk, and Captain America are the members of the organization. After knowing the impending calamity brought by Thanos, Doctor Strange has joined the organization to fight with Thanos. In the scene when Iron Man met with Star-Lord team in Q-ship, the social glue of the Avengers makes the Star-Lord team to be part of the Avengers. The adaptive culture of Star-Lord team is vast. Both teams met the first time, then they may collaborate to fight Thanos. It also can be defined as the contribution of environment fit. It can be known that the Star-Lord team has been hurt by Thanos before, and both teams share the same target, which to defeat Thanos and return all the Infinity Stones from Thanos to their original places. In the last scene fighting with Thanos, the organization performance of the Avengers is good as they are working intensively in collaboration with each other to control Thanos and try to rob the Infinity Glove from Thanos' hand. This is the first time they fight together. As a conclusion, the key success of Iron Man character in the movie is that he did not force Spider-Man to stay on Earth. Although he did not encourage Spider-Man to take the risk aboard on Q-ship, without Spider-Man's idea, Iron Man cannot save Doctor Strange from Ebonimo easily. It might have been a hard fight between Iron Man and Ebonimo. Meanwhile, the key failure of Iron Man in the movie is that he was not able to stop Star-Lord from punching Thanos' face when they tried to take off Thanos' Infinity Glove. If the Star-Lord was stopped, maybe Thanos will not able to gather all the Infinity Stones at the end of the movie.
Hi, I am Yo-Ming Jun, and now I'm going to perform about the case study on one key character in the movie Avengers Infinity War, which is Thanos. Based on the behaviors in the movie, We can consider the MBTI personality type of Thanos is INTJ. INTJ is the people who have the introverted, impulsive thinking and charging personality traits. These thoughtful tacticians are analytical, intelligent and strategic individuals. They are able to see beyond the surface and understand the underlying principles that govern the universe. Their inner world is often a private and complex one, so in my opinion, it is perfectly illustrated in Thanos, which is considered as antagonist in the movie Avengers Infinity War. Thanos is a powerful alien warlord who wants to acquire all 6 Infinity Stones so that he can use them to bring the stability for the universe by eliminating half of the universe's life. He is incredibly intelligent and strategically able to outthink and outmaneuver his enemies. Besides that, he is also able to keep his eyes on the big picture and he is not afraid to make sacrifice in order to achieve his vision. INTJs will admire his intelligence, strategic planning, and dedication to his cause. However, the people may also be frustrated by his lack of empathy and willingness to sacrifice innocent people. For example, he had directly caused the extinction of half of the Jehovah's race during an invasion of the world of January. The process of self-fulfilling prophecy can be discovered through the Black Order assisted Thanos in his mission to find the Infinity Stones. Thanos can be seen as the supervisor who forms the expectations that he wanted to collect all the Infinity Stones. Then, these expectations affects the supervisor Thanos to do the behavior which instructed the Black Order to find and return the stones to him. This supervisor's behavior affects the employee. Black Order were tasked with going to Earth to find the Man Stone and the Time Stone. After that, the employees' behavior, which were trying to capture and torture Doctor Strange to ask him to hand the Time Stone over and extract the Mind Stone from Vision in order to match the expectations of Thanos. Based on the skin that sacrifice of Gamora, we can know that Thanos had completed the rational choice decision-making process that he thinks it is. First of all, Thanos had already identified the problem, which was obtaining the Soul Stone required a sacrifice of a loved one. Then he chose the best decision process that he thought, which was he would have to kill his truly loved daughter Gamora in order to get the Soul Stone. He also tried to discover alternatives, which is giving up the plan to gather all of the Infinity Stones. However, he selected the choice with the highest value that he thought, which was crying over to murder Gamora. Thanos told Gamora that he could not ignore his destiny to seemingly save billions of lives this second time after thinking back to the fate of Titan. After that, Thanos implemented the selected choice by throwing his beloved daughter from the cliff as she fell to her death. In the end, Thanos evaluated the selected choice by taking possession of the Soul Stone. He inserted it into his Infinity Gauntlet, giving Thanos greatest power to collect other remaining stones for achieving his goal, which was bringing stability to the universe by eradication of half of all life in the universe. According to this movie, we can know the power base used by the Thanos is the legitimate power. It is because he is the supreme leader of his team, and he has formal and absolute rights to control over all his subordinates such as Black Order, Outriders, and Chitauri. During the Infinity War, he had the utmost power to demand the Black Order and Outriders for conducting an invasion and giving a variety of pressures on the opponents to hand the Infinity Stones over their head. Besides that, we can also know that the influence tactic used by Thanos is the assertiveness, that he applies legitimate and coercive tactics as a supreme leader of his team. It is because he was fighting with Avengers directly and believing in his own goals will be achieved successfully. Throughout this movie, we can know that this is the story of the main conflict between Thanos and Avengers. In my opinion, the structural source of conflict for this movie is incompatible goals. It is because Thanos' goal was trying to wipe out the half of the universe in order to bring the stability for the universe. However, it is perceived to interfere with Avengers' goal, which they need to defend the Earth against threats. However, this conflict outcome produced the Infinity War, which was a galaxy-wide spanning conflict for the Infinity Stones. Even though Thanos made himself infamous, but we cannot deny that he was an effective leader. When viewing Thanos as a leader, we can see how he used the skills approach to leadership. Thanos has the technical skills, which is including knowledge and ability to use the tools and processes of the organizations. Thanos understood that in order to achieve his goal of balancing the universe, he must collect all the Infinity Stones. Thus, he asked his subordinates to go and collect them. Thanos was knowledgeable about the stones. He knew what each one was for and how to use each stone separately. For instance, he created a fake world where his daughter Gamora tried to kill him when he get the Reality Stone. He wanted to see if she truly cares about him and use the power of the stone to put the world back in order when she starts crying. By the end of the movie, Thanos has clearly demonstrated how effective leadership can accomplish tasks. Eventually, Thanos succeeds at collecting all the Infinity Stones and eliminates half the populations of the universe. Thanos' ability to create a plan, have his subordinates complete tasks assigned, and then finally meet his goal shows that his leadership was effective. Although most of the people think he was a horrible being, however, he too was a very effective leader. The organization that can be found for Thanos is the team including him, Black Order, Outriders, and Chitauri. In this organization, Black Order, Outriders, and Chitauri can be seen as the employees, and Thanos can be seen as the leader to lead them. The organization's values and culture bring them together, which is to help Thanos to gain all the Infinity Stones. Therefore, Thanos can also be defined as the strong culture in these organizations. It is because his subordinates, Black Order, Outriders, and Chitauri will lay down their life in order to complete the mission when there is instruction that is given by him. In a conclusion, the key success of the Thanos in the movie is that he utilized the skills model. He demonstrates the skill, which is the ability to work with people by realizing that a small number of individuals cannot accomplish his task. He needs to develop an entire army to complete his goal and thus gather the Black Order and Outriders. The conceptual skill is the one that Thanos has the most in, which is skills about ideas. Thanos believed that the only way to restore balance in the universe is to eliminate half the population. However, the Infinity Stones allow him to complete his goal in a snap of the fingers, compared to planet by planet to eliminate the half of the populations manually.
Hi, my name is Natsuki. Today I will present the character Thor Odinson. For the individual behavior, personality and the values, I will use the mass model and MBTI theory to explain it. In mass model, the motivation of Thor is to kill the Thanos. He is the god of thunder, hence he can possess the immense power. To kill the Thanos, Thor needs to obtain the power that's stronger than the Thanos. For example, he needs an extraordinary combat axe, which called a Stormbreaker, to harness the force. They got the situation factor, which is the obstruction that block the energy, hence Thor needs to take the damage to force the weapon. In MBTI theory, Thor belongs to the ESFP personality. It's because he is fairly anchored in reality as an attentive personality type. He doesn't appear to have any desire to lose himself in fantasy or theory. He always finds the best in everyone. They are all the feeling and extroverted. Next, Thor's personality is founded on the facts and experience, hence he is sensing and perceiving. He reflects on the experience of fighting Thanos, hence decided to forge weapon first before kill Thanos. The workplace is not constant. Sometimes work at the planet, sometimes works as another planet. Since Thanos killed his beloved brother and the teams, he is enraged and wants to kill the Thanos. To kill the Thanos, he needs to build the weapon first. So he rejects the suggestion that go to the nowhere to fight with the Thanos first. He decided to travel to the Nidalee to forge weapon first. The stress is to holding the obstruction that will release the energy, since the energy may hurt Thor while the Hall is holding. In the employee motivation part, this part divided into the drive, need, decision, and the behavior. The drive is to kill the Thanos and protect half of the universal creature. The need for current is to obtain the attack power that can kill the Thanos, since Thor does not have that capability. Lastly, he called to Nidalee to forge Stormbreaker in order to increase the power. When Thor is rescued by the Guardian of the Galaxy, Thor formed the team with Groot and Rocket to go Nidalee together. All the team members cooperate and complete the task. For example, Rocket Raccoon helped to rekindle the forge. When the axe is let off the handle, Groot used his arm to forge the handle of the weapon. Lastly, Thor switched on the energy power to activate the forge. Hence, lastly, the weapon is finally forged successfully. Team communication is essential since it allows the team to be friends in a short time. For example, Thor makes the jokes to Groot, then all of them are talking together. Next, communication allows to exchange the idea that generate the good result. For example, Thor provides the idea to the rocket and then rekindle the planet successfully. Same organization will have the same drive and goal. In this movie, their goal is to kill the Thanos and stop him from wiping out half of the creatures. In this movie, Avengers team is accountability that each member is responsible for fighting or protecting someone. For example, Wanda Maximoff protects the Vision and the other soldiers defend and the Wakanda. In conclusion, the key success of the Thor is obtaining the legendary weapon, which is the Stormbreaker, that has the power to kill even Thanos. However, the key failure is Thor withdrew his blow at the last second, hence he is not able to kill the Thanos. Lastly, Thanos successfully wiped out half of the population.
Hi, my name is Chong Jenny. Now I am going to introduce one of the characters in this movie, Gamora. First, I am going to talk about the individual behavior, personality, and values. Gamora is a selfless and determined person. According to the Mars model of individual behaviors, the motivation of Gamora in this movie is to prevent Thanos from retrieving the Reality Stone and Soul Stone. At first, Gamora is on the way to the nowhere to fight Thanos. Because she don't want Thanos to find the Reality Stone, she has the ability to fight with Thanos. Even though Thanos is her father, she still has a clear role perception that she needs to defeat Thanos to stop him from obtaining the Reality Stone. She has requested Q to kill her if Thanos caught her because she don't want to let Thanos know the location of Soul Stone. However, the situational factor is Thanos has caught Nebula, who is Gamora's sister, and he used Nebula's life to threaten Gamora. From this situation, we can see that Gamora rather sacrificed herself than telling Thanos the location of Soul Stone, because if Thanos collects all the Infinity Stones, half of the universe will be wiped out. Next is the MBTI personalities of Gamora. Her MBTI personality is ISTP, which indicates that introversion, sensing, thinking, and perceiving. Based on the analysis, Gamora is independent and she loves practical and action. ISTP person need freedom to work on their own pace. Gamora was adopted by Thanos when she was young. When she grew up, she left Thanos because she wants freedom. She don't want to be controlled by Thanos anymore. Next, I will talk about the workplace emotions, attitudes, and stress. Gamora is the member of the Guardians of Galaxy. Their work is to protect the galaxy from the planetary threats. When they met Thor, Thor told them Thanos was going to the nowhere to retrieve the Reality Stone. Gamora decided to go nowhere to fight with Thanos. She hates Thanos and wants to kill him. She is angry when fighting with Thanos. When she senses a chance, she stabbed him in the neck with God Slayer and then killed Thanos successfully. However, she felt bad when she saw Thanos was die. her emotion was changed from anger to sadness. But the Thanos death is an illusion which is created by Thanos using the Reality Stone. And then he caught Gamora immediately, and then Gamora became angry again. After that, Thanos bring her to meet with Nebula. Thanos tortured Nebula and threatened Gamora to tell him the location of Soul Stone. The stress of Gamora is that she wants to decide whether to tell Thanos the location of Soul Stone or not, because if she don't want to tell him, Nebula will die. After that is the decision making and creativity. Before Gamora and her team arrive in the Nowhere, she has made a decision that she wants to sacrifice herself if she was captured by Thanos, because she knows the location of Soul Stone, and she don't want to let Thanos know. Hence, she asks you to kill her if Thanos captures her. Next, proceed to the team topics. The first one is team communication. Most of the time, Gamora and her team need to fight with others to protect the galaxy. They need to communicate with each other to make sure that they will not harm their own teammates. When Gamora and her team was fighting with Thanos in Nowhere, they communicate with verbal and non-verbal communication to ensure that they can defeat Thanos. The second is conflict and negotiation in workplace. Gamora has many conflicts with Thanos in this movie. The source of conflict is the differentiation, because the belief of Thanos and Gamora is totally different. Thanos believes that half of the universe should be wiped out to maintain the balance. Gamora is disagree with him, so she does not want to tell him where is the Soul Stone located. Hence, the conflict is occurred. This conflict is handled by forcing. Thanos used Nebula's life to threaten Gamora. If Gamora did not tell him, Nebula will die. This forced Gamora tell him the location of Soul Stone at the end. After that is the organizational change management topic. The organization which Gamora involved in is the Guardians of Galaxy. The member of this organization consists of Gamora, Peter Quill, Drax, Mantis, Rocket and Groot. This organization was split into two teams when they met Thor. Thor wanted to go Nidavellir to create a new weapon to defeat Thanos. Rocket and Groot decided to follow him. The rest of the members, Gamora, Quill, Drax and Mantis, go to the Nowhere to fight Thanos. In a conclusion, Gamora is brave and selfless. She wants to sacrifice herself to prevent Thanos from knowing the location of Soul Stone. At the end, Gamora tells Thanos the Soul Stone is located at Wormir because she wants to save Nebula's life. When Gamora and Thanos arrived at Wormir, the Stone Keeper said that Thanos needs to sacrifice someone's life that he loved the most to obtain the Soul Stone. Thus, Thanos threw Gamora off a tall cliff and obtained the Soul Stone.